Okay, so before that, I would like to ask everyone to rename yourself. All right, please update your display name to include your district, where you are from, including your full name and also your club name. Okay, and second is when the guest or anyone is speaking, please mute yourself to minimize the background noises. And kindly keep your microphone muted unless when you are speaking or have any questions to ask. And of course, throughout the session, we would like to encourage everyone to turn on your video to have a more interactive session with our speakers. So thank you everyone for your cooperation and participation.
Thank you, Xiaojun. And now, before we start, I would like to invite everyone to turn on your camera so that we can take a group photo before the start.
All right, everyone, please switch on your camera so that we can take a group photo together.
Please
Okay, is
turn
everyone
on your
ready?
camera. Yeah, turn on your camera if you can so that we can take group photo. Okay, we are going to take it now so that we can start as soon as possible because I believe everybody are eager to listen from the champions on how they actually achieve their champion. Yeah. All right. Okay. Be ready.
All right, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3 with some pose. All right, we are good to go.
Both pages are
Thank
taken.
you, everyone. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Then you may, all right, I will invite myself in to save the time. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here and registering for our event today, which is the panel discussion on what? Can you type in the chat box? Yes, it is something that I am doing as the organizing chair. Why I conceived the idea of doing this? Basically, it's because in the past, I have been attending champions sharing workshop here and there, and every time they only invited one person to share. So now I conceived in my idea, I thought, why not I bring a few person together so that we can have the champions with the S and discuss it together and share with us in one session, 2 champions or 3 champions in one session. So save everybody's time of running here and there, especially in gathering their information and learning from them the tips of how to be a better speaker and to be a more effective contestant so that we can work our way up to what? First placing, second placing, or third placing, whichever that we dream of, whether it is at club, area, division, district, or even the World Championship of Public Speaking by Toastmaster International. So it comes to me and I thought of why not doing this, and I was challenged by someone when I shared this idea with her, and she challenged me to do similar or any other panel discussion, 6 of it in 100 days. And this is my first panel workshop in the challenge towards my DTM project. And thanks for being part of my DTM project. Now, first of all, I would like to introduce our speaker for today, our panelists for today, for our panel workshop, which is none other, of course, you can read at the background, so I don't have to repeat it anymore. And the first person that I would like to invite in is none other than Toastmaster Teo Su Lun from District 87, who is the International Speech Champion for 2023-2024. Would you like to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Daphne. Thanks for the invitation. It's an honor, and indeed, it is a beautiful Saturday evening here in Kuching, Sarawak. So I'm coming to you live all the way here. So, yeah, I assume my audio is good.
Okay, It's loud and
right.
clear to me. Yeah, thank
Okay.
you. Yeah,
Thank you.
just for your information, I just got to know Toastmaster Sulun, despite I think he had already attended our Advanced Ardent Speakers meeting in the past, and he was referred to our President Patricia as Lun. But this is the first time I approached him for the project, and I'm glad that he agreed to it and support me, and of course, for sharing with everybody. And the next panelist that I'm having is none other than Mas Mahathir, the District 51 International Speech Champion 2023-2024. Of course, he has a longer list, but I'm going to keep it to only two. One is this year's International Speech Champion, and the other is he is also third place winner in Toastmaster International World. Sorry, sometimes it twists. Okay, World Championship of Public Speaking 2021, 2022. So let's us welcome Mas Mahathir from District 51.
Thank you so much, Daphne, and thank you so much to this amazing club for hosting such a session that's so fruitful for everyone here. And for those who are here, welcome. My name is Mas Mahathir. It's such an honor to be here to speak alongside with Lun as well, a district champion. So I think tonight is going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of learning as well. So thank you so much for spending your Saturday evening in this workshop so that we can continue growing together. Back to you, Daphne.
Okay, thank you, Mas. Toastmaster Mas. So from now on, I'll be referring Mas as Mas, and then Toastmaster Sulun as Lun. Is it okay with you? Yes. All right. Now, the easy part for me is very easy. Whenever we go for interview, the very question that the interviewer like to ask the interviewee is, talk about yourself. And I am going to throw this question to Mas. Talk about yourself in 3 to 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Daphne. Okay, so in 3 to 5 minutes, I think I can do it in 3. My name is Mas Mahathir. For those who don't know, I'm actually, I come from a mixed heritage. My father, Mr. Muhammad, a DTM, is a Sri Lankan Javanese. My mother is Penang. So I think, as you can see from my face, I took 99% from my mom, yeah, the Chinese side, although I have a very Malay name. So I started Toastmasters in 2016. Yeah. And I only had one goal at 2016, and I wanted to be a better communicator and trainer, because at that time I was in a training company and my boss was pushing me. He said that you want to be a better speaker, you want to be a better trainer, you better join Toastmasters. And all this while I was actually exposed to Toastmasters, but I wasn't a member. So I knew the first club I wanted to join, and that is my parents' club. So in 2016, I officially signed, I joined. And then I had a new goal in mind that time in 2016, and that is to beat my sister and parents in Toastmasters contest. Yeah, that was my ultimate goal. And you can see my expression, right? That I was so passionate, so excited. And the first contest that I joined that time, I lost. Yeah, in the club level, table topics not placed. So it really shattered me. But it also taught me something else, which is how do we stay humble, to grow, to learn? Because Toastmasters is not about totally winning or totally losing. There is no losing. There's only learning. And because of that experience, I have actually carried on with me to continuously learn, no matter whether I win or lose. So I'm quite grateful for that experience. And today, I'm a Toastmaster for 8 years. So it was so long since then. And I think my journey will not stop in 8 years. It will carry on because I truly believe in a Toastmasters mission. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Over to you, Daphne.
This is how to keep our speech simple and short, yet introduce ourselves to the whole world about, so that everyone knows a little bit about us and more curious to know more, so they come back and listen to our next speeches. Next, I would like to invite Lun, the same question that I'm going to throw you. Tell me or tell us about yourself.
Right, thank you, Daphne. Some of you may think, hey, Lun also have a mixed parentage like Mas, but I actually do not have. So I'm purely Chinese, but it doesn't matter. Some people have come up to me and say, hey, you know, you look like Japanese. And that was when I was in Japan. So I do not know how I get those mixed look, but I do have it. But rest assured, I do not have mixed parentage. Now, perhaps some of you may know, but many of you here do not know. I started my Toastmasters journey in District 51. And I was a member in District 51 for more than 10 years. And as a matter of fact, tonight I see a familiar face. Tan Lei Teng. We were in the same area for a while. She was actually my area director, if I'm not mistaken, or if my memory serves me right. So I started Toastmasters in 2007, so that's a good 17 years. Now, I joined out of a necessity to practice my leadership. It was not so much about communication. My company at that time said, you know, we need to have a Toastmasters club. I need a volunteer to be the chartered president. I didn't know what it was, but I raised my hand. Lo and behold, I became the chartered president, and I went on to become a recycle, reuse club president many times over. And I'm sure that's also an experience many of you have gone through as well. And as for taking part in speech contests, I would say I'm one of those accidental contestants. I'm actually pushed into it because, you know, the club does not have enough contestants. So Loon being the chartered president, you have to contest. Loon being the VPE, you have to contest. So many times I failed, just like Mas, you know, I failed many times. I think I failed more than I've won. So that's the way it is. So I believe that, you know, the road to winning or the road to success, whatever it is always paved with a lot of failures and disappointment. So I'm here tonight as an accidental contestant, and I think this year as also your accidental district winner. So with that, over to you, and I hope to enjoy myself and also share whatever I know about speaking. All right, back to you, Daphne.
All right, thank you, Loon, for sharing with us in such a humorous way, accidental, everything accidental. Nonetheless, congratulations for winning the District 87 contest, international speech contest. I learned that you actually joined Toastmasters many years back, right? Longer than Mas, but you never actually contest until you were forced to. That's something that is interesting. Well, most of us join because we just want to have more confidence, to be able to speak openly or impromptu. That's all. And then some will take the leadership role, some will go into contest, being forced to and accidentally win the contest, just like Loon. How lucky. And let's listen to him. Is it really all about being lucky, or is it he was blessed to have the opportunity to show the hidden strength, the hidden power in him? Let's move on. Now, in the contest journey, both of you, Mas and Loon, you are first place winner for the international speech contest in your respective speech, of course. And I'm interested to know your journey this year. Only speaking on journey this year, because today we are sharing on you being champion for this year. Okay, along the road, share with us the challenges at club area or even district level, the challenges from other contestants, the old contestant, recycle contestant, and the newbie, and also the moment when you were declared the first place winner. May I have Loon to share?
All right, thank you, Daphne, for that, giving me the opportunity to be the first speaker. I always like to be the first speaker then, because you know why? Then the second speaker will probably have to be even better than me so that they can retain the attention of the audience. So as the first speaker, I don't have to work so hard in my mind. That's how I think. So my journey into contesting this year, again, it's accidental because there was just not enough participation at the club level. And being the club president, I do not know, maybe for the 5th time or 6th time in my history of Toastmasters, I had to take part because as a leader, you have to show good example, right? So that's what I did. I took part, and I didn't, to be honest, I didn't prepare that much, but I've been doing speeches from time to time. So I just kind of look back at what I've done and which speeches had, good feedbacks, and I kind of tweak it along the way. So the first one, I managed to win at a club level, and I tweak it as I go along. So that was my journey, an accidental contestant once again. Now, fast forward to the district final, how it felt to be awarded. Probably for District 51, you guys are lucky. You can just hop into your car and drive to the contest venue. But in District 87, we comprise of Sarawak, Brunei, Sabah, and Indonesia. So this year's contest was in Kota Kinabalu. I had to fly all the way to KK. And last year, I flew all the way to KK to take part, and I didn't win a thing. So that cost me a few thousand ringgit. So this year, I had a bit of a motivation to say, hey, I gotta make something worth it, for that few thousand ringgit, I'm gonna fly to KK. So that was that, and I put in a lot more effort this year, I must say, to prepare myself mentally and also to practice a bit more. So that was my journey this year. That's the only difference. I prepared better and I practiced a lot more. All right. Daphne, does that answer your question?
Wow. Yes, you share with us the struggle you had within you to take up as the club rep again, and then the expenses that you had incurred in traveling to the contest in the past, how you invest your air ticket, yet you didn't win. And this year, accidentally, you won. I think that actually made a good return on your investment. Next, I would like to invite Mas to share his, because I know last year he didn't contest at District 51, and this year he made a comeback after a lapse of 1 year of rest. Okay, Mas.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I took a 1 year break. I can't come up with so many speeches year by year. Oh, that's really tough, lah. But anyway, I like to ask the audience in this room right now, just to engage with you for a moment. Who here have competed this year? If you did, can you put 1? If not, put 2. Can I just see how many of you have competed in the contest this year? Okay, we have, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like a 50%. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, and it's just coming nice. Now, for those who compete, yeah, it doesn't matter whether this year or the years before this, I'm sure each and every one of us have our own individual struggles when we compete, right? Some of the struggles would be, oh no, is my speech good enough? Or, oh no, will the audience understand my story, my message? Is it clear? Is it funny? Is it this? Is that? There's a lot of things. But for me, the biggest challenge that I face is actually my own personal struggle, which means how can I do better than I did before? That was my only struggle. Because when you've won before, there is always an internal struggle. It may not be external, it's an internal thing that you want to make sure that you do good. You don't want to give a bad show. You don't want to look bad. You want the audience to learn and grow and have some form of value when they listen to you. So it is an added pressure on myself to ensure that I just keep doing it, So every round of the contest, I can tell you, I was nervous. I was a nervous wreck, really, really nervous. My face would feel so flushed. My hands would be so shaky. But of course, when you go on the stage, you just have to give it your all despite all those struggles, right? So yeah, my biggest struggle was trying to do better than I did before. Because again, it is all about growing in this process. And if I do worse than before, that means I have not grown. So that would be my ultimate struggle. So when the district announced the win, I was very thankful, very, very grateful, very thankful for the organizers and also for the judges and also for the participants who supported me in this journey. So this win is not just for me, it's really from the audience. They really helped me in this journey. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Daphne.
Wow. Even the champion have the challenges of craving or thinking out a topic. Later we'll delve further into that and how he must overcome that issue. Now, let us move on to the next question that I have for the panelists. Let's get back after you shared about yourself and then you shared about your journey this year. Let's get back to very basic when you started your contest journey, because some of us here are newbie and some of us here are oldies but hardly contest until, who knows, later have to be volunteered because the club is not having any other participant or contestant. All right, let's go back to the very first beginning. Mas mentioned that he wanted to challenge his parents, his sister, so that he want to win over them. Let's say, Mas, were you before that contesting during your school days?
Oh, okay, that's a great question. I have never taken part in any public speaking contest except Toastmasters. Public speaking is, I was exposed to Toastmasters because my parents forced me to go Toastmasters. But I have never participated in any contest like that. In fact, I try my best not to join any competitions because for me, I've always have this fear of, man, I will look really dumb in front of people. I'll look stupid. What if I fail? What if I make all these mistakes? I've always had that thought in the back of my mind. But it's only when 2016, when I joined, my mindset shift because, okay, if my sister can reach division, it's a great inspiration for me. So my mission is to beat my sister. That was my only mission. And when I didn't do that, of course, I felt down lah. So that kept me going. Maybe next year, I'll beat my sister. I'll beat my mom in this contest. And true enough, the next year I beat my mom, my sister, and that was the happiest I've been. Even though I didn't win the next round, I was like, okay, I beat my sister, my family. Whew, mission accomplished. Yeah. So 2016 was the first time I joined, but I didn't join international speech because I wasn't qualified. Only table topics, humorous, and evaluation. Yeah, only 2017 I started for international speech. Yeah. I hope that answers your question, Daphne.
Yes, definitely. That's interesting because many, especially I know those in the Chinese or Mandarin speaking club, usually they have been contesting and they were the past debater and the speech club, those who did the speech or storytelling, those kind of thing when they were younger. But your case is very interesting to me. I was shocked and surprised when you say that you have never contested before and your inspiration actually comes from your mom and your sister. May I know how many sisters do you actually have?
I have one older sister, which I think some of you have met before, Mas Marlina. And I have an elusive younger sister. Her name is Mas Marliza. She's the only one in the family who says no to Toastmasters because all the other family members are Toastmasters. She wants to be somewhere else. Well, we tried bringing her in, but she's still very firm. Maybe in the next few years, I don't know.
All right, that's interesting. Okay, now let's see how influential are you in talking over her into joining Toastmasters. All right, then what about Lun? Had to share with us?
All right, so I've never taken part in speech contests or public speaking contests. I was never even in the debate team. So I only started participating after I joined the Toastmasters, and as I've mentioned before, I was pushed into it because there's not enough contestants. So from there, I won the first few times and said, hey, this is probably something that I can do. It's not too bad. But then when I went higher, in District 51, it's really tough. The competition is really, really high, the standard. So every time I go a little bit higher, I went to the area and I didn't win. I went to the division and I didn't win. Then I'll tell myself, darn, it's not me, it's the judges. They don't know how to score. So that's a way for me to console myself. But it was actually a very good learning experience, a journey, I must say. So in District 51, the best I've ever gone, or the furthest I've ever gone, was in the international speech at division level. I came in, was it a third place? That was about it, and that was the highest place competition that I've ever took part in. So for those of you who have not won or you didn't get what you wanted, you don't give up, it's the judge's fault, it's not your fault. All right. So that was my history. And last year I paid a couple of $1,000s to go to Bali, and I got disqualified because I got carried away speaking on stage. It was a table topics. Table topics, you have maximum 2 minutes and 30 seconds, right? I mean, for a Toastmaster, what's 2 minutes and 30 seconds? That's just not enough. So I got carried away and I kept speaking, and I got disqualified. The only one who got disqualified. So that was my badge of honor that I took home with me from Bali. Yeah.
Wow, that's a very expensive lesson that you have learned, or maybe you were enjoying your Bali trip until you forgot all about the contest. Just joking. Yeah. Anyway, many of us, whether already achieved the champion in the past, sometimes there are new people, new Toastmaster who join, and then suddenly they shine, or even the one older than ourselves, the older Toastmaster, not in terms of age, but who have joined Toastmaster and being a contestant for a long time and make a comeback and win. So it is like someone mentioned, sometimes it depends on the judge. Yeah, like Sulun and this Mahathir also mentioned that sometimes it actually depends on the judge. But then again, on this, we'll delve further into that later on. Next, I would like to ask Lun, because just now you just conclude. In public speaking, which area do you actually find more interesting or challenging? Is it delivery or is it crafting the speech itself?
All right, that's a very good question, and I am sure a question that's very applicable to everyone here in this Zoom room. Because for me, it's always the crafting, finding that right message and finding that right personal experience to blend in together with that message, and not at the same time not sounding too self-centered when you're delivering it, because when you're on stage, the funny thing is you're sharing your personal story, but actually it's not about the speaker, it's about the audience. So for me, it's always about the crafting. And for every speech contest, I've had to revise many, many times. Yeah, a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen times sometimes. And just to get a right balance of what I wanted to do. So yeah, definitely crafting. And when it comes to crafting, I don't know if AI helps nowadays, but in the good old days before AI, we had to do it manually, and I had to do it with someone, with my club members. I run through things with them, and then they'll tell me, okay, this is not good, that's good. But then I realized that someone else would give me a totally opposite, different opinion than what the other guy told me, and I'll be confused. So at the end of the day, I think it's about listening and then using your own judgment, delivering the speech, getting feedback from the audience, go back, evaluate, and then make improvements. So one of the things that helped me would be, I ask myself is, how can I do better? I've done this, I've crafted this. How can I do it better the next time? And what I do is when I'm crafting, I go to YouTube. YouTube is a very good friend because all the world champions are on there. 24 hours a day, you can go listen and then get inspiration and ideas from. So yeah, definitely crafting.
Me too. I have the problem in crafting a speech. In fact, to think of a topic itself is very challenging to me. Now, what about you, Mas?
Okay, thank you so much. And I think Lun shared a very good point that when it comes to content, it's all about revising. Because as the saying goes, right, great speeches are not written, they are rewritten. And the more you rewrite, the more you spend time on it, right? What you expand on, what you focus on expands. It gets better over time like wine. So if the question is, which is more difficult to work on, whether it's delivery or content, I would say content. Delivery, although it's important, it still has to come purposefully and naturally to you. If you are staging it too much, then that's where it's not going to appear authentic to the audience. Yeah, so you still have to find it more purposeful and natural. Now, speaking of content, right, why it's difficult is because you need to find a story that can relate to the audience. You don't want to single out any community, race, gender, people. You don't want to segregate them. You want everyone to be able to follow you on this journey. And that's where the difficulty comes in. Because if you say something, for example, I'm a mixed race, and then I start talking about being mixed, then those who are not mixed, they don't connect, they don't relate. So universally, yeah, it has to be universal. The second thing about content, why is it difficult, is because the message and the speech has to be world ready. Yeah, it has to be world ready. It means, what does the world need to hear? If it's something very personal and too unique to you, then guess what? The audience cannot relate. The most they can feel is, oh, Mahathir felt like that. Mahathir did that. So what? It's Mahathir's story. I don't connect, right? So it has to be world ready, universally accepted as well. So when it comes to creating speeches like that, I will really take time. Every day, I'll try to revise my content to see how I can improve on it. So some of the revisions can go up to, version 120, things like that, because every time you just have to find ways to sharpen the content to get better. So for this year's contest, the international speech, all the way into district, I've revised that content until the 70th version. Yeah, version 70. And I still felt that there's still much more work that needs to be done. So if you're taking contests seriously, then this is something that you need to consider. Don't just leave your speech as it is. It has to evolve and grow over time. Yeah, great speeches are not written, they are rewritten. Back to you, Daphne.
Yep. Rewrite it and then make it, refine it until you feel that it is the speech that you actually want to deliver on stage as a contestant. Yes, sometimes we do have challenges. Nonetheless, that's how we have to keep on redo it until we are satisfied. Even then, the satisfaction is only at that time. When we move on to the next contest, we may further enhance the speech itself. Now, let's on further into the speech. Yeah, I have heard from somewhere, there's a contestant in overseas, yeah, who had kept using the same speech over and over again for up to 8 times until he finally won. Well, some contestants were using same speech at different contests that I have personally noticed. In your case, do you actually prefer a new speech for each contest year, or repeat the same speech year after year? And do you stick to one topic from club level all the way to district level? Now, who should I ask? Let's have Mas.
Well, that's a very good question. And this is a genuine concern for a lot of contestants, because to create one speech takes so much mental energy and effort and time. And then suddenly, oh, I lost in like 2-3 rounds. Then I'm going to take this contest and the speech and throw away. Cannot, right? So some speakers actually take it, refine it, and do better. I'll give you an example. My world number 3 speech, 2 Gifts, was actually a repeat speech from my 2021 district contest. So in 2021, I won the district, but I did not progress to the semi-finals. So I used that speech as my 2022 final speech. Yeah, but of course, it went through many other revisions and rounds of that. Now, my stand is this. I think repeating a speech is fine. However, do not repeat it too many times. I think there's always going to be a certain limit, because no matter how the judges are supposed to be trained to think, right? Like they're supposed to think that don't take past or recycled speech into consideration, be focused, with the current speech. No matter how much we are trained to do that, we are still going to have a human factor to say that, oh my God, I know where this is going. Yeah, and it's going to affect you. Okay, so there's always you're going to have a limit for this. So my recommendation, if the first time you didn't do it well, the second time you repeat it and you don't do it well, I think it's safe to say that maybe this speech is not good enough in the first place. So you can scrap it. Yeah. But if the second round you did well, good job. You've made some improvements. Okay. So addressing the second question, would I use the same speech from club to district? Yes, I will do that. The reason being is because I want to make sure that at every round, I improve on it based on the audience feedback and reaction. And this is the only way the speech can actually get more reps. You know, like you're going to a gym, you're doing more reps. This is one of those ways to do that. So I wouldn't change like club do one speech, area do one speech, division do one speech. So if you are like doing so many speeches, then where is the one speech that's going to be a true master of that? You know, where's the diamond in that speech? So it's best to go through many rounds and you will see the diamond come out after many rounds. Yeah. Back to you, Daphne.
Okay, thank you for sharing with us. Yes, there is nothing wrong if we are using the same speech in the next year at different level. But what about repeating it at the same level, for example, the club level or even the area level year after year?
No, please don't do that. That's why I mentioned, right? If the first year you do it and it's not well, the second year you repeat it again and you lost, it's safe to say this speech is not good. Please throw it away and create something new. Yeah, it's like what the saying goes, right? Insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different results. So yeah, please be creative lah. Find a new speech lah. After the second time it didn't work.
All right, thank you. What about you, Lun? Do you actually prefer a new speech for each year contest, or do you actually because your case is all the accidental, so it's like your speech, don't tell me your topic is also accidental, your story also accidental. So actually how you go about in preparing yourself, since everything is so accidental, and then your topic, your speech, and how you are going to deliver your speech, your delivery. Let's share with us a bit about that.
Right, so I'm the second speaker for this question. So I think Mas covered everything I wanted to share. So he hit the nail on the head. He got everything spot on. For my case though, I'll just make a confession. So I have a confession to make, yeah. So this year, I reused that particular speech that got me third place placing at the division contest in District 51. That was more than 10 years ago. So I don't think anyone remembered. So that speech was very powerful because there was a member of an audience. 2 years later, he came up to me and said, "Hey, I remember your speech, and the message of your speech was da 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 da." I was so amazed. So this year I decided, hey, I think that speech has something, you know, it has something and it needed to be improved on. So I improved on it. And accidental usually at the club level. Once you go beyond the club level, you go to the area, division, you know, there's the weight of the members from your area and your division. So after the club, I usually take it a little bit more seriously and I would tweak, like Mas shared. I do not use the same speech, but it's always tweaked, but the message is the same. The contents are similar. My stories will be about the same, you know, but I tweak it and it's an opportunity to improve on it because masterpiece doesn't come up overnight. It needs to be tweaked and rewritten over and over until you get to the stage where you deliver the most value to the audience, and that's when you have a winning speech. So yeah, rewrite it many times, tweak it, but it can be the same message that you use multiple times. So this year, that particular speech was from more than 10 years ago, and I tweak it at every level. Yeah, so that's my confession, and that's how I did it this year.
Okay, thank you. So the idea can be the same, just that twist and tweak it here and there and repackage it. Basically, it's called repackaging it and deliver it to the different audience, or some are then are are the same, but
Yeah,
because
correct.
yeah,
Correct.
just like we are cooking the char kway teow, we change instead of the one with the siham, we shift it to the Teochew style of char kway teow, or even the other style Malay char kway teow basah. So it's like using the same thing, repackage it and present it. Now let's move on. When preparing the speech, do you actually have a spare speech, the second or the third speech? Because I am asking this because I came across a division level contestant overseas who presented one topic during rehearsal, then another second topic during the club contest, and following that, move on to the division contest. She came up with a third topic and she asked me, which one is better? When I watched her presenting and gave her the advice. So I'm not a champ, and she was asking me, now I have this question, I'm throwing to the champ to help me answer. So in the future, when I get similar question, I know how to answer. Now, the question is, one topic for local audience, second topic for wider range, and the third topic for the bigger, maybe it's district level or international level. Do you actually have the spare speech for different level? As Mas mentioned, he only has one speech all the way up to international level. What about you, Lun?
All right, so I do not use that strategy. It may work for some others, but personally, I don't. I have one, and if that speech is something that I want, then I know there's something in it that's good. It just needs to be improved on. So I'll stick to it, and I will just make it better. And that's how I've been, that's a strategy that I've been using all this while. And like I said, it's very difficult to come up with content, So if you're asking me to create 2 or 3 different speeches, I would be very lost, and I think I'll end up a bit more confused than focused. So yeah, definitely that's not for me. For some others, it might work. And as I think Mas shared earlier, the ability to use that similar speech allows you to tweak and make it better. And that's, I think, the most valuable thing that if you're a contest speaker, that you can do, right? How to make things better. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to getting the speech itself, the content, the topic. Well, where do you get your inspiration, the winning speech? In the past, I have attended workshop and I heard from the speaker, the one who present the workshop, yep, they will say, get it from your own life story, zoom in to the little bits of details, and then create something out of it. But I always had this challenge. I'm just a plain ordinary person among the 7 billion people in the world, without great achievement, without pain to hoo-ha or cry about. How can I actually find that gem and get it polished into diamond? May I have, who should I call? Lun first.
Oh, sorry, Daphne, did you ask me to speak?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So where do I get my inspiration from? Okay, universally, there are a few topics that will relate to the general audience, right? It could be about love. It could be about happiness, sadness, emotions. It could be about procrastination, which was what I touched on this year. So procrastination is something that most of all of us will go through at one point or other. Some a little bit more severe, some less. So things like that, there are universal topics that you can, that it will work, right? Like I mentioned, love, right? Or kindness. So then you need to look back at your experiences and see if there's any personal experience that touch on those. And then you try and tweak it in such a way that it appeals to the audience. Remember, my experience is when I'm on stage, it's not about me, right? But I'm sharing a personal experience, and it's not the most, it shouldn't be overdone. So there's a balance there. At the end of the day, we are using our personal story to underline or underscore or give credibility to a message that we want to share with the audience. So for me, I start off with the universal, the audience. I look at the audience and then I say, okay, let's talk about love. Let's talk about something else, and then I find inside me something that can jive with that theme or topic that I want to share with the audience. So that would be my strategy.
Okay, thanks for sharing with us, Lun. Next, I wanted to ask Mas. When crafting a speech, we start with an idea and then we expand it to 5 to 7 minutes, and then we expand and it becomes 20 minutes. Well, we added and now we need to remove. How do you go about to decide what is the core content of your speech, the core idea, the core, that winning point that you want to use, and decide how to blend it and then have it with your performance, or I should say gestures.
Okay, thank you so much, Daphne. All right, I'm going to quickly go back a few steps. The first one is when it comes to finding your story, right? I think it's really important that you first identify your 5-second moment. This is something I've mentioned it so many times. It's in a book called Storyworthy by Matthew Dicks. Your 5-second moment is a moment in time where it only takes you 5 seconds for you to have a shift in belief, attitude, mindset, something like that. And all of us have that, no matter how bland and boring it is. It could be something as simple as someone saying a certain phrase to you and you went, whoa, I've learned something new. Or maybe an act of kindness where someone just helped you when you needed help. And that 5-second moment is what I use as my benchmark of creating a story. Because I felt that if I am truly connected and passionate in this topic, I'm sure pairing with delivery, I can try to inspire people with this message. So find your 5-second moment. Ask yourself the question, in my moment in life, was there a moment where I felt a change in my behavior, mindset, and beliefs? You just ask yourself that question, and then you start taking time to write that down. Now, once you have that written down, you will then start to see that this is what I call as a creative purging. Yeah, creative purging, or you're vomiting all the ideas. You start writing the story. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be coherent, but that's fine. Just write it out. Because once you have all the ideas down in a speech format, then only you go to the next part, which is called the Jenga. You start taking out whatever is not necessary or trimming the fats. When I trim the fats, right, I will always refer to my objective of my speech, or the message, the central message. So if this information does not serve any purpose to my central message, it's out. Now, this does not just mean a certain story or a certain experience in the speech. Yeah, for example, you have story 1, story 2, story 3. It doesn't mean like that, It means that even a certain word in that speech, if it serves no purpose, it's out. Or I will tweak it, I'll change it. Can I change this word from saying it to delivering it? Yeah, from saying it to delivering it. That will also save me some word count. So ultimately, once you start trimming the fats, you see the process of just removing here and there. And you, after taking all the Jenga pieces out, you look at the speech and you ask yourself, oh my gosh, it still makes sense. That's where you got the diamond in the rough. Yeah. So don't be afraid of writing all of those ideas out and slowly removing piece by piece. There will come a time, and this is where all speakers will face this, where you need to go through major surgery or minor surgery. Yeah, you have to dissect your speech, take out, because some feedback comes in, you got to plug and play, right? Be open to that. Be very open to that and accept those feedbacks. Use what works for you. But ultimately, trim the unnecessary. Yeah. I hope that answers your question, Daphne.
Oh, that's right. Trim the unnecessary and keep the core message that we want to deliver. Now, let's move on to the next, and let's see what are the things that I want to have. Audience engagement, usage of props, dialogues during the speech, or the context during the speech itself. How much is actually too much? Or is it encouraged at all? May I have Mas to share with us on that?
Oh, this is a very interesting topic. Okay, let's talk about props. This is, okay, in 2022, when I went to Nashville to compete for the World Championship of Public Speaking, I was sitting among the audiences while waiting for my turn to be called. One of the speakers in the semifinals came up on stage and she used props, and not just one prop, a lot of props. She had a bag, and inside the bag, there's a paper, there's a rock, there's I don't know what things, there's a clothes or something like that, and her hair or something like that. So there was a lot of props going on. But this is something that I overheard in the audience, while I was there. And this is after the speech, a few people also mentioned this. They said that, wow, if a speaker used too much props, I don't know how to connect. And if I'm a judge, I might mark them down. Wow, this is very interesting. So again, I don't know who said that, but it was I heard it now. So when you're using a prop, remember that that prop has to serve an ultimate purpose, which is your core message. If it's just a fluff, just being there, you're just bringing it up there, it's an empty gimmick. And empty gimmicks will usually fall flat. Think of it like this. A writing technique is called Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's gun means that whatever you bring up, you must have a closure at the end, right? If not, the audience will be thinking, why did you bring this up in the first place? So if there's a Bob in your story, Bob must come back in the end. If there's a paper in your story, the paper must play a role in the end. So if your prop does not serve that purpose, don't use a prop. It must serve an ultimate purpose. Okay. And when it comes to doing too much, whether it is your gesture and your style and all this is something that I learned from my mentor, Sim Boksan, who is a former district champion many times. He told me this, Mahathir, when you practice to the point of spontaneity. Practice to the point of spontaneity. Some people, when they practice to the point of polished. They practice until they're so polished on the stage that the audience feel like, I'm watching a theater rather than a speech. So you need to practice. If you are reaching that level, guess what? You have not practiced enough. So practice more until you look so natural on stage. That's where you hit the sweet spot. Back to you, Daphne.
Yes, indeed. To differentiate oneself from the others is that we need to make it so natural, as if we were delivering the speech for the very first time of our life. Even the movement, even the squatting or the kneel down and the tears throwing up, make it so natural. We need to practice and practice many times. Rehearse it. If we don't feel that we did it naturally, as if we were just acting, then we need to redo it. Is that so, Mahathir? Must? Yeah. Thank you.
This until you're so spontaneous.
All right, thank you. Then next, I will have this question on rehearsal and speech preparation. And I'm going to have Loon to share with us this. I have seen some contestants holding the full script and trying hard to memorize it. Some are just memorizing it so naturally. Yet some, like myself, who had problem in memorizing and more towards impromptu element in the speech. Which group do you actually belong to? And how to help us overcome such a situation? Do you have any tips for me?
All right, Daphne, let's just begin with saying that everyone's different. We all learn differently. So for me, I think I'm dyslexic. So you don't ask me to read because I by the time I get to page 5, I cannot remember what's in page 1 or what I've read. So personally, I do not script everything out. I do not write the entire thing and try to memorize word for word. So I may write everything out in the first few drafts, Then I try to, how I remember things is I use visualization. So I imagine myself, I'm already on stage and I'm delivering that speech. So in my mind, I'm running that over and over and over many times. That's how I remember things. I cannot read from pages and pages of paper. It does not work very well for me. I have tried. But for some others, it might. And the message is that you have to try what works for you, right? I came to this conclusion because I tried many things, and I finally realized that I have to do visualization. And to get to the stage of being natural, being polished, that's standing in front of the mirror and then delivering and doing your gestures, your facial expression. That's always been a challenge for me. I think I've not done enough of that many times, and it doesn't come out as being natural or even polished for that matter. So I guess that's the challenge for me. Yeah. So maybe for you, Daphne, you could try writing everything and then trying to remember most of it. What some others have done is that they remember the framework of the story, the main story in each paragraph, in the opening, in the 3 points in the body, what's the main story there, and then what's in the conclusion, and then they go up and deliver. However, if you're trying to do it spontaneously, like table topics, if you think a prepared speech is like answering 3 table topics, then it's going to be very difficult. Unless you're a very good table topic speaker, you could create and connect all 3 with proper transitions and messaging and personal stories. Very tough. So you have to find what works for you at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take from that. So it's still back to writing the script as much as possible, and then relearn everything. Now, what about Mas? Do you take it naturally, or do you do the 100% rehearsal kind of thing? Because during the recent annual conference, while you were dining and dancing in the hall, I saw someone who kept rehearsing his speech. So what about your case?
Wow. Okay. Maybe I ask the audience this question first, and feel free to type in your answer. Do you think for a contest, you should remember or memorize word for word? Yes or no? Should you memorize word for word? Let's see. Let's see the survey says. No, 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 no. Oh, looks like almost 100% no. 9. Whoo, someone in German also says no. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your honesty. Oh, Steph says half lol. No, but some keywords, yes. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm different from the chat. I would say memorize 100%. Memorize. And the reason why I say this is because for me, right, when I remember word for a content and I get to do it again and again, I know the impact will be the same for the next round and the next round and the next round. If every time my speech has a certain twist and turn here and there, maybe certain words are changed here and there, I fear the impact would not be as how I intend it to be. I'll give you an example. I know a few people who do contesting, and how they write their speech is through mind mapping. Wow, very interesting. Mind map their speech. So when they speak, right, they speak in mind maps. So today's speech is totally different from tomorrow's speech, right? Or some people, when they give their speech, suddenly they add on a new story, a new part in their speech, which was totally not in the written format. This to me is a recipe for disaster. Because in a contest setting, you're constrained to a 5 to 7 minute speech. No room for any ad-libs or any extra words here and there. You have timed it, you have written it down to a certain word, keep to it. So when you duplicate it in the next few rounds, the impact remains the same. Okay, so please, if you take contest seriously, remember word for word. Yeah. Then just now, Daphne also mentioned about practicing, right? When you have the opportunity to practice on the stage, please do that as well. Get comfortable. It is always unfortunate to see that some speakers, when they go on stage and they don't familiarize themselves with the setting, how far the audience is sitting, how the mic is going to be like, how big the stage is. And then on the day itself, when they speak, they panic. And this is, to me, is very heartbreaking. So don't let yourself go through such pain. Take the pain to go and do it first so that you don't suffer later. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
All right, since you have already mentioned about the contest, the stage of the contest, get familiarization with it. Now I shall move on to the contest day and before, the day before. Now, for district level, did you actually do rehearsal on the eve of the contest as well as during that contest day, where contest in the contestant hall while waiting for your turn? And how to focus when you have all your competitor around you? Care to share with us? Because I noticed at the District 51 annual conference, you left after the education session to get back to play supporting role for your sister, and who was contesting the very next day. Yet, during the recent District 51 conference this year, where you attended the gala night, despite you yourself being a contestant the very next day, how you actually managed to prepare yourself? Number one, focus when others are practicing in the contest hall. Number two is how did you actually have yourself mentally prepared while attending the dinner and the next day you're contesting?
Okay, I'll take this question first and pass it to Loon. Okay, it is very stressful and nerve-wracking few days before the contest. It will always be the case. But I found that if I do rehearse, every time I rehearse, my mental state calms me down because it has told myself that, okay, you've done one extra round. Good job. Versus, oh no, I did not practice enough. Then the other thought in you will start fighting that. So I would practice, which means before the contest, after the gala night, I went back to my room. I went through a few more times, about 2-3 times, the entire speech. Then the next day, when you are doing the sound check and all that, I practice one more time as well. Even with people there looking at me, totally fine. In fact, I would rather they look at me than don't look at me. Because if they look at me, to me, it's like almost an actual practice where there's an audience already. Yeah, so it really helped me a lot when that happens. Yeah, so please take practicing seriously. Yeah, maybe I'll pass to Loon.
Before that, I wanted to intercept. I have one contestant who watched you preparing yourself and doing the rehearsal on the contest day, and then he came out to have a filter, and he was like, oh, if you only see Mahathir, Mas Mahathir, how to win him, he is definitely the champ for this round. So if let's say you were in that contestant's case, how to help, because you're the Mas, right? And everybody who were in the room have a look at you and then already feel like losing to you. What advice that you can actually give to us?
Wow. Actually, I can totally relate to this experience because when I first started out my competition, I was competing against a multiple-time district champion. Yeah, a multiple-time district champion. His name is Gurmeet Singh. And I lost out to this guy twice. Okay, twice. Back to back. First year, second year, twice I lost to him. But when I went into the contest with him, right, I knew I was afraid of him. I knew I was affected by him. But I told myself that this is very important, and it really worked for me, is that I came here to give a speech for an audience so that they may be able to walk away with something that they can apply back in their lives. If I focus on the contestant and how I'm afraid of him, then I'm afraid the message won't get out as how I intended. So I stood focused and ground myself. Yeah, so one technique that we can all try is grounding. Really helps a lot. It's almost like meditating, but having yourself feel your senses and reminding yourself why you are there. You are there as the messenger of your speech to inspire, not for the contest, not for the contestant. So do your job as a messenger. Yeah, back to you.
Messenger, good. Do you imagine you were delivering to the audience at large or to your sister, your parent, who usually will be there to support you? All right, let us have the sharing from Loon. What's your tips on the contest day?
All right, on the so I actually skipped the gala dinner this year. That's the night before the contest, and not so much because I didn't buy any conference ticket in advance. So I usually buy just the gala dinner. So this year when I arrived in Kota Kinabalu, I said, hey, I want to buy a ticket for the gala dinner, and what the guy said? Oh, this year we are sold out. Okay, so I couldn't attend. So I spend the evening in my hotel room doing my visualization. That's pretty much about it. But one of the things I always do is to go to the contest venue early, right? And then get on stage, familiarize yourself where you should be standing, where you should be moving. Imagine the room is full and what I should be doing. So that's one of the very useful things that has worked for me. And indeed, you know, so I was speaker number 4, and like all contests, there are speakers before you. Generally, well, I must say they do not really affect me because what Mahathir said in Mas said in the last point is actually very valid. Because I'm not there, you see, how I see is that I'm there to be better than what I did last year. And there's an audience in front of me, couple of hundred, and they're all giving me 7 minutes of their time. All right. And I want to make sure I go up there and be the best I can be and give them as much value as I can give so that they take home something very valuable. And that is my approach towards contesting. So the other contestants, I've seen contestants jump up and down and things like that. Doesn't really bother me at all. So I'm not really competing against that. In my mind, I'm competing against myself to be a better speaker than I did the last time. So I hope that helps, definitely.
Okay. What about getting a coach? Since you are always accidentally being volunteered as a contestant, do you have a coach?
Okay. So when I first started in my Toastmasters journey, I had mentors, I had coaches, but when it comes to public speaking at my level, I do not really have a coach. So it's always DIY, you know, watching past winners, listening to other contestants and asking myself, how can I be better? How can I take something from this speaker and incorporate it and make it better for myself? So I think if you go to a higher level, like the international semi-final or final, I think you need a coach, right? That's for sure. And I was actually approached, and actually the other people said, you know, if you get a coach, they'll probably charge you. So I don't know. I've not gone to the international level yet, the finals. So probably coaching would come in when you get to a certain level. Probably beyond the district level, you need a coach.
Yep, true. Because I heard from a few world championship, world champion who actually encourage those people who are going for the world championship to engage a coach for themselves. And I understand, Mas, you had mentioned Mr. Sim earlier on, and I believe he is your coach. And when did you actually decided to engage him as your coach until today?
Okay, maybe I'll clarify the two. Sim is not my coach. He's my mentor. He's my mentor. A coach is where you pay money in exchange for a service. A mentor is where they are there because they see value in this relationship, and they are happy to help you in many ways that they can. That's a mentor, and Sim has been very helpful to me as a mentor. So yes, Sim has actually, I started finding Sim I first saw Sim in 2016 in the live conference in Seremban. I think some of you may have been in that live conference. And the moment I saw Sim presented, I knew that I need to get this guy to help me. And true enough, when he did help me in my contesting journey, I broke through from the area. I made it to division, but I got stuck there. I got stuck at the division level and I couldn't go up. So I knew then that I needed something more. A coach definitely helps because it minimizes the mistakes that you make to get to where you want to go, because they have been there, right? They have walked the path. All they have to do is show you how to get to the path. So definitely my recommendation is find a mentor first. You know, you don't have to get a coach. Find a mentor. And this mentor, if it's someone who has walked the path before, or maybe have some experiences on how to get there, maybe they have seen a lot, they've studied a lot, so they know, then approach this first. Coaching is always secondary. Find a mentor first. A mentor is the one who will really be your cheerleader at the back. The coach, yeah, they only cheer if you win. But if the mentor, they will cheer with you all the way.
Okay, next. I learned that Loon and yourself are also this having this trainer as a professional trainers. Yep. So how you actually differentiate between contesting in the public speaking and then handling your role as a trainer? Must.
Training and speaking are two separate skills. They have some correlation to one another, but they're totally separate. As a speaker, your mission is to get a message across, right? And you have to do it in the most effective way possible. As a trainer, you have a different purpose. Maybe your role is to facilitate learning. You have to do something, maybe share certain information, or maybe get them to be the one who discovers the learning themselves. So for those who are thinking of going into training, don't take speaking as the only tool to get into training. Find other methodologies that will support training, because there's so many models out there: facilitation model, training models, training methodologies. Find all those things. Don't rely on just your talent and skill in speaking, because when you put it in training, very, very different. And this actually happened when I started my training job with a company back then. I was using speaking as training. The whole class was so bored. So yeah, speaking alone doesn't help. Back to you.
Okay, that's interesting. So if any of us intend to be a trainer in the future, find the other area of expertise, something that we are expert in, or something that we are passionate in, and explore on that apart from just speaking itself. Okay, now we have come to quite the end of my session. But of course, next I will have the audience question to you. And one of the questions that I got from the audience. Now, this is the impromptu session for the champions. I got this question: no matter how one prepares, the ultimate fate is in the hands of the judges. It was posted by KP Chong, and the similar was mentioned by one of these panelists today. So as a contestant, how do you actually stay balanced in your speech, as the judges may comprise of Toastmasters from different diverse backgrounds, for example, different generation and the different gender, as mentioned by Mas earlier on, and different level of maturity as well. So Mas, especially when you, or maybe I go for Loon first, so that it's easier for him. You have a diverse background, even having Indonesian, right? District 87,
Yes.
how you actually approach it?
All right, so as a contestant, you do not really know who the judges are, right? So there could be somewhere in the audience, and how many and who they are, you really do not know. But I think I do not factor that when I'm preparing. I mean, when I prepare my script or my content, it's for the entire audience, not just for the judges. So you gotta make sure that my message appeals to as wide as possible. All right. So judging, as I said, it's something beyond your control. So my philosophy in life is, if something is beyond your control, then don't try to control it. It's going to be the losing battle anyway. So I'll let the judges do their work. And I go on stage and do as best as I can. And the rest, as they say, is up to them. Yeah. So that's how I approach judges.
All right. What about you, Mas? Because you prepare your speech from the very onset. It is an international level that you are looking at, and you expecting that you want to move on to the international contest. So how you actually position yourself?
Okay, so for me, I try to write my speech from early on to be as universal as possible, but I would always add some local twist in the earlier rounds first. Yeah, in the earlier rounds. But the moment I hit district, I will change, because district, the video will be submitted to the region quarterfinals, right? And then you're going to have a diverse judging pool. And the reason why I do some areas local first is because local, when local can connect with local, they laugh, right? The humor is there, you connect. You can't be using American jokes on Malaysians, they may not get it. That being said, the moment you go higher, be very careful with what you write already, because this is where the audience will not understand what you're saying. Here's what I've learned. Last time I had a speech where I talked about secondary school or something like that. Then after that, someone said that, Mahathir, you can't say secondary school. I don't understand what it means. Here in America, it's high school. So, you have to start changing certain words already, you know? So that wasn't the only one. There's many things. So in 2022, my speech was about prawn crackers. Yeah, prawn crackers. And I think as, Asians, we know what is prawn crackers. We know what they are. They taste good. Then when I went to the semifinals, I knew I had to switch. So I can't use the same analogy anymore. I threw the prawn crackers out. I changed it to popcorns. Yeah, so now a universal audience can relate to it. If I had stayed with prawn crackers, trust me, I would not have made it to the 2022 finals. Yeah, so yeah, think in mind how you can make your speech as universal as possible early on. But of course, locally, try to connect first. Yeah.
That means when we prepare the speech, despite you shared that you have one speech all the way to district or even international, but there are elements within the speech itself that you will switch to cater to the international audience. Okay, that's something that we can actually take back, because sometimes at club level, the club members the judges were expecting something that is relating at the very club level, and when we move on to area and district, it's a totally different arena because of the diversity in the judges. Okay, next, I have a question from the audience. From now on, it's all the question from the audience. How to have effective audience engagement? One, Mas' case is that he practiced his speech over and over again, and then how he actually get to have the connection. And for Loon, it will be like he internalized it, and then he just internalized it with key points, how you actually handle it with the effective engagement with audience. Shall I start with Loon? Only 1 minute sharing because we are running out of time.
All right, Daphne. So what I understand from engagement is how you connect with the audience, right? So how you connect with the audience, there are a few techniques. One of the easiest way to connect with the audience is ask your audience questions, or ask them to do simple things like raising your hand. So that helps you to bring to connect and engage with the audience. I started off my speech by asking a question, and I asked them to raise their hand. If the answer is this, if the answer is that, those who agree, raise their hands. So that's how I engage, and I find that's one of the most effective way. And that was my opening of my speech this year.
Okay, then Mas, definitely he has already demonstrated to us doing online sharing. He asked the audience to type in the chat box. What about on the stage? Do you ask them to raise the hand, or how you plant someone there to react or respond to you?
Planting someone there. That's a cool trick. Maybe I should try that.
1 minute.
Okay, so very quickly, for me, when it comes to audience engagement, very simple. You don't have to always have active engagement. Active engagement means asking questions, getting response. Not necessary, but cool. If you can do that, use it. I think it works very well. Like for Loon, fantastic, you get audience response. But sometimes you may also use something called passive engagement. Passive engagement means that I'm not engaging you through asking you to do things, but I'm engaging you through what I'm saying. So this could come in the form of rhetorical questions. For example, if let's just say like this, how does those words mean to you? Or have you ever experienced that in your life? Pause, rhetorical question. Or another way, telling engaging stories. Especially if you have dialogues, internal thoughts, internal conversations, clear, vivid characters. This way, passively, you're engaging the audience because they are picturing things in their minds like a scene, like a drama. So play with both, active and passive. It will really serve you very well in your speech.
Okay. Let's say if someone asks you for a tip or tips when drafting a speech, give one tip. It's quite ambiguous. Anyway, we love tips, right? So it's from Kayuk. So let's say if you get someone asks a tip from you on the speech, writing a speech, what would you share?
Okay, so for me, one thing, stakes, S-T-A-K-E-S, stakes. Every great story needs to have stakes. Stakes simply means that what is the character going to lose in the event this is not solved? the character needs to face something that they are going to lose it all. You must have this in your story. If you don't have this, there is nothing that the audience will root for in the story. No hero to cheer on. So the character must have a moment where they could either lose it all or win it all. You must have stakes. So when you're crafting your story, and if you are the hero of this journey, ask yourself, in this moment of my story, is there something that I'm going to lose? If not, find something to do that. Yeah.
Okay, that goes back to me. If I'm one in the 7 billion who is plain. So I need to find that hot button in me. All right. Next, I'll pass to this Loon. For a longer speech of 15 minutes, how do you actually craft it to keep your audience interest afloat?
Sorry, I didn't get that. If I'm
For
doing
a
15
longer than 7 minutes, let's say 15 minutes to half an hour speech
Right.
or a presentation, how to keep your audience and to be interested to listen to you till the end.
Right. Okay, so if you have to do a long speech, let's say 15 minutes, all right, and what keeps the audience going is the engagement. You need to keep your audience engaged. Once they disengage, yeah, already lost the audience, and it's very hard to get them on your side again. So the key here is you must make sure that in your speech, when you write your speech, you must put in areas where you are engaging. So let's say if you know every couple of minutes you need to engage, and in your script, you highlight that, and then you see how well spaced that those engagement points are. So for 15 minutes, every 2 minutes, you need to engage. So there should be about 7, 6 engagement points. You highlight those and make sure you do those. So long speech requires engagement, and I think Mahathir has shared, Mas Mahathir shared with us is that it can be passive or it can be active engagement. All right, so make your audience ponder, make them think, take them along with you on your journey, make them feel the sadness, make them feel the happiness, and they will stick with you. So if you take like a speech contest or 15 minutes and you have stories in it, take them along with you, ask them questions, pause, give them time to think and ponder. So, and then ask them to raise their hands, ask them to stand up, and do all these things to make sure you don't lose the audience.
Okay, that's good. Every 2 minutes, try to engage with the audience so that they follow you through. And I saw in the chat box, E.T. from Indonesia, he suggested bribe them with giveaway if they stay till the end. That's another idea. All right, that's something for all the rest of you to consider. Okay, that's a question from Salini. Next up, I have the question from Muhammad Fatih. I have a problem cutting my speech short. Is it okay if it is within the extra 30-second allowance? So I would ask Mas, because you prepared your speech in advance. So let's say if I prepare my speech 100% in advance, if the time is slightly over 7 minutes, or would you suggest me to cut it shorter? Mas?
For me, very quickly, no. If your timing is already hitting the red light, even in your practice, even in contest, that's a no-no, very dangerous zone, yeah? I try my best to keep within the 6:45, 7-minute range max. Any further than that, dangerous. Reason being is you will never know when your audience will laugh and how long they will laugh. Some world championship speeches, right? I think it's Aaron Beverly. His laugh in one of his speeches is 11 seconds long. Oh my gosh, 11 seconds. Can you spare 11 seconds? Maybe not. So if it's that time already, you have to cut. So my rule of thumb is this. Our typical speech rate is about 100 to 120 words per minute. Yeah. And if we do rapid fire, maybe 140, 150. So my rule of thumb is plus minus how much time you have, plus minus 50 words. So that means if it's a 7-minute speech, 650 should be your target. Yeah, maximum 680, 690. Yeah, if it's more than that, trust me, it's going to be not a good sign. Back to you, Daphne.
Okay, thanks for sharing with us. Yeah, Toastmaster Sulun and Toastmaster Mas. I think the time is that I have to do the closure right now, because some of our friends are from the other countries and they may be, it's time for them to do other things. And our time that I set was until 9:45. So we are left with 5 minutes. Thanks for sharing with us in such details. And for those questions that you have, those of you who have posted in the chat box, we will come back to that after the closing of this panel workshop. And if our panelists can still spare a little bit more time, then we'll go up for it later on. But for now, I would like to come to the conclusion and then I'll pass the stage to the club president, Patricia Yap. To present the cert of appreciation.
Thank you so much, Daphne. I want to acknowledge Daphne as the organizing chair for hosting such a meaningful, purposeful event. Let's give Daphne a huge, huge round of applause. Thank you so much. And of course, our gratitude goes to our two panelists who have added so much value to all of us. Let's acknowledge Mas Mahathir. Thank you, Mas, for such an insightful sharing. And certainly Loon, thank you so much for bringing your wisdom to also our District 51 and beyond. I believe, Daphne, you have some certificate to present. So we shall now ask Daphne to do the necessary. Thank you.
Wayne is presenting. So we have the first person to be presented. Let's spotlight Mas, myself, and Patricia.
Give me a moment.
Yes. Help to spotlight.
Definitely.
I spotlight. I'm looking for Mas. Where is Mas? Mas.
Okay. One.
All right. The three of us are here.
Oh.
Do we have all three?
Yes.
All right.
Good.
Right.
Make sure our eyes are open big.
Yeah. And make sure I'm not turned into alien. Okay, Xiaojun, do you mind to help us take the photo?
Yeah, sure. All right. 1, 2, 3.
One more?
Okay.
One more?
Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, thanks. Next, shall we invite Loon? I need to spotlight. One moment. Okay. What happened now?
Spotlight Loon, Daphne, and myself. Loon, we can't find you. Can you make some noise?
Yeah. I found it.
Okay, good.
So is it three of us here right now? Xiaojun, please
Are we
come.
there?
Hold
Xiaojun?
on, yeah. I think I cannot see the spotlight right now.
Okay,
let's
myself at spotlight. Loon is here.
Okay, and one more.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. One. Sorry. Okay.
Can
1,
we?
2, 3.
Yeah. One moment. I think we need to wait for a moment because there's a text.
Yeah.
Okay. Another round.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay. Thank you. So again, thanks to Loon and Mas for being here. And would you like to
Sorry.
close?
Hold on, yeah. Because just now I think when Mas taking the photo, I think there's issue with the chat column as well. So do you mind to take again the photo?
All right.
Yes,
Thanks
please.
for doing the quality check.
You need
Yes, thank you.
You need a
All
cert.
right. Maybe we can retake the photo again.
Servin, do you mind?
Sure. Hold on.
We take one with the 4 of us as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we'll do that first before
Yes, we do that first.
Xiaojun, is it okay with you?
Okay. Yeah, sure thing. Okay, come on. Okay, 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay, now let's have it with Mas. Okay, share screen. Is it the slide with the three of us?
Yep. Okay, smile big. All right, 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay,
Look
thank
nice.
you. All right.
Great. We also want to acknowledge all our audience who are still here with us. Thank you so much for being here. Right now, I'm seeing the number 51. And back to you, Daphne. You may want to say some last words so that we are going to be so excited to pick up all the valuable tips given by our two panelists and go and practice and do your pathway speeches. Over to you, Daphne.
All right, thank you. We are left with only, okay, on dot. So I shall call it an end, and those of you who wants to stay back for further information, further sharing by the panelists, if they still can spare us a minute or two, yeah, do stay back. And thanks to Steph K for mentioning that she enjoyed my facilitating the panel workshop. And I hope with that, when I come to the next facilitating or moderating of a panel discussion, I can improve further on. So thanks for being here with us today, especially the panelists, and not forgetting the role player, such as Savin as well as Xiaoqun. Thanks to both of you, otherwise things will not be as smooth. Yeah, because of you, we are doing everything smoothly. Thank you.
Thank you. And on top of that, we also want to make an announcement on the coming Monday. We do have a masterclass, 12:30 to 1:30 with Caitlin from Australia. She's actually a professional coach. For all of you who are available, I'll be typing the information in the chat box as well. So right now is the session that we're going to ask our panelists, Mas and Loon, anything, and this session will not be recorded. So go ahead and ask them anything that you wish to ask. All right, I'll stop the recording right now. Thank you. And over to you, Daphne.
Yeah, thank you. But before that, in having the session or ask anything session with Mas and Loon, I wanted to share with you the